All right. What do you know? What you do? We back here. Dreaming it up. All right. Whatever, everybody. How's it going? All right. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Hope you're having a good day so far. My name is Michael. Welcome back into Le Stream. Should be a good one today. Hope you're doing well. All right. Let's go ahead and get into today's stream without further ado. So we're going to be jumping back into C Programming: A Modern Approach, 2nd edition. Going to be by K and Key. We're going to be back in Chapter 7, taking a stab at some more of these programming projects. Hopefully we maybe can finish these up today and move on. If not, maybe one more session. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, programming project number 3. Modify the sum2.c program of section 7.1 to sum a series of double values. So section 7.1. All right, where are you at? Sum 2. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to include the standard io.h header file. We're going to go int main and void. Let's open this up. We're going to have a long n and sum equals to 0. We are going to printf and say to the terminal, this program sums a series of integers, right? So then we're going to printf one more time and say enter integers 0 to terminate. And then we're going to call scanf, and inside of here put inside a long decimal value to be received, and we're going to save that in the memory location of n. We are going to call, oh, that was in a while loop, my bad. No, the scan, hold on, scan, and then we have while n greater than not equal to 0. Open this up. Sum plus equals to n, scanf, we'll read in the LD again, and then save that into n. We're then going to call outside of this a printf, and the sum is %LD. Cool. Yo, Sylvia, how's it going? Welcome in. Welcome back. Good to hear from everybody again today. All right. So then after this, we're going to just return 0. Okay, the change was fairly simple. We declared n. Okay, nice. So what we need to do to this program, if we come down here to our problem, we need to modify this sum2.c program to sum a series of double values. Okay, so doubles are floats. So let's change this to Let's change this to double. Right? Okay, we have double n and sum. We're going to scan f and into a double. Let me go back to my notes here. So for reading in a LD, oh no, capital LF for long float or double. Okay, so for long float or for long doubles, we would read in LF, LF, LF. Now we'll do GCC-0, we'll do EXE here. Undeclared identifier num. Did you mean sum? Oh yeah. Expected expression. My bad. Okay, and then let's run this here. So this should be a 0.6. Nice. All right, I think that one solves this guy. Let's go ahead and get some feedback on this one. Converted this to some long or some double. Yes, you successfully converted to some doubles. We'll sum a series of floats. Okay. Nice, that's that one. Let's move on to next one. Let's keep it pushing. Ooh. Write a program that translates an alphabetical phone number into numeric form. The phone number, call at 255-288. Got you. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to include the standard io.h header file. We're going to int main void. Open this up. We're going to have so we want to have the user put in a value. We want to use getChar in order to get the value of the character from the screen, right? So how can we use the getChar again? Let me see here. Size of how can we use the getChar again? Let me see here. getChar. Okay, we assign it as a char value. Okay. So what we can say is, let's go ahead and assign a char out front here. We'll have char C, and we'll say printf, we'll say enter a phone number. We'll go like this, right? And we'll call scanf. We'll say while while c equals to get char, while c equals to get char, and that does not equal to let me look back up in the examples here. While the char not equal to \n. So while the char is not equal to \n, what we're gonna do. Hey Jimmy, you know you learned enough now that you have a lot of fun with Arduino Uno and some motors and sensors. Yeah, I want to see if we can maybe pick up one of those, like a little microcontroller or something, maybe with some fans and maybe like a temperature probe or something, and see if we can write a script for automatically adjusting the temperature of like maybe like while there's like a light over like a plant or something. We can adjust the temperature, adjust the power of the fan based on temperature or something. So I do want to get into like microcontroller stuff here, like after the Christmas break here. Once I kind of get more into memory. I kind of want to learn more about memory. And then once we get past memory and pointers, then we can start to really kind of expand. But welcome in, everybody. Welcome back. Sorry I've been gone past couple of days. I've been kind of just enjoying a little bit of a winter break. But I'm back here, coding up some more practice problems in C Programming: A Modern Approach, 2nd edition, chapter 7. Thanks so much for being here and joining me. We're on problem 4 here, of this guy. So we're going to call scanf. No, we have get char, we have C. We'll say here, so if C equals to so let's go up, let's get an ASCII chart. Okay, so we have an ASCII table here. So we want to identify capital A, B, and C, right? So capital A, B, and C are 65 through 67. So if 65 less than or equal to C, and C less than or equal to 67, right, we're going to open this up and we're going to so we need to make an integer, right? That's the thing, is we have to we just need to print out the number into its form, right? Okay, so we'll just print out So we're going to call printf here. We don't need to save the value into any. We'll call printf here for 2, right? And then we're going to say else if the C is in between what values now? Let's go back to our ASCII table here. So between D through F, so 68 through 70. So we'll take this. 68 to 70. All right, we're going to call printf and do to 3. Now let me copy this down. Right, we have 71 through 73. G through I. Yeah. This is going to be 4. And then if we copy this down, we go 74 through 76. So it's going to be 5. 77. Through 79 goes 6. Okay, right. 77 through 79, M through O. P through S is 80 through 83. 80 to 83. We're going to do 7 here. We're going to go down 2 more here, so 81 or 84 through 86 goes 8. And then we have 87 or 89 for X, Y, Y, W, X, Y. Oh, that's W, X, Y. Yeah, 87 through 89. This will be 9. Okay, so then else, right, we're going to continue. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to call C. Okay, so let's try it here, I guess. No, I'm going to say C equals to get char. And if that value is not equal to \n, Can I not directly insert this? Maybe not. So let's say, oh, we need a scanf though, right? So we need a scanf, generic form. I mean, always assume that the numbers are uppercase. Else, we're going to printf to the %c and insert just the char, right? So, but I can't do this assignment inside the while loop. So if I say while get char, can I not say this? Let me see. Okay, so we have to do some order of operations. We have to get char, save it in C, and then do the comparison first. We're going to read this as %C, save this in the value of C. Okay, we're going to do 1-800-collect. So we're missing the 1. Let's try it again. Call ATT 225. So we're missing the first. Oh, we don't use scanf because the scanf is taking the first value of char. So let's just leave that off. Call AT&T 2255288. Yes, cool. And then what we're gonna do is at the end of this while loop is we're going to print a \n and then leave it at that and return 0. Cool, I think that's that problem. So if we run this and do 1-800-col-lect, we get 1-800-265-5328. Perfect. That was that one. Night Owl. Ray Live is also great. Highly recommend it. That as soon as you got the basics, it's probably the best library for making games with C. Oh, interesting. I've never really had an interest in making games, but we'll see how what we can learn. With Arduino, very memorable, which is good for learning. Easy plug prototype wires. Nice. You guys are here and enjoying the stream. We're only 10 subs away from 4,100. If you guys aren't subscribed, feel free to sub along here. Okay, cool. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5. In Scrabble crossword game, players form words using small tiles, each containing a letter and a face value. The face value varies from one letter to another based on the letter's rarity. Here are the face values. 1 for any of these values, 2 for any of these characters, 3, 4, 5, 8, and 10 for those characters. Write a program that computes the value of a word by summing the values of its letters. Got you. Okay, so we're going to include the standard IO .h header file. We're going to write int main void, right? And we're going to write, I guess we're going to have char c, and we're going to say printf, enter a word, right? And then we're going to call this, right? So while c equals to get char, and while that value does not equal to a \n, right, we're going to continually loop over and get the characters from the standard out. For every character, we're going to compute a total. So we're going to have int total, and we're going to set this equal to 0 out the start. So then we're going to compute a value is equal to, so now we have these values here. So there isn't anything specific to do with these ranges, right? It's not like they're in order. A, E, they're kind of random all over the place. So we kind of have to get their ASCII values. So let's do this. If char equal to so we would have to A, right, which is 65, or char is equal to, I mean, is there a better way than doing this for all of these values? 69, or char is equal to for I 73. Is there a better way to do this? I mean, we could just say if it's equal to the character, right? It would do that. If char equal to quote A, right? Or all these other ones, right? Let's see. Hey AJ, how's it going? Let's look here. Let's ask, is there a faster way of looking for char to be a specific char like Scrabble values? A lookup table. We haven't got that yet. Stir char so then switch cases here. Okay, this is what we'll probably use here, switch case. Okay, so if we say switch on the value of C, case, quote A, case, quote E, case, quote I, case, quote, L, case, quote, N, case, quote, O, case, quote, R, case, quote, S, case, quote, T, case, quote, U. So when it does this, you do score plus equals 1 break, right? Okay, got you. So score or total plus equals 1, and then break. We don't want to break, we want to continue, right? So we might want to break here, actually. Okay. So then if we have hold on. But then what about if I say case, quote, so let's take 2 of these. D and G, you get 2 points. For the case of, quote, BCMP, B, C, M, P. This goes up 3. Okay, we have another chunk, which is going to be FHVWY, F, H, V, W, Y. We're going to do this, right? And then in the case of JX, case J and X, remove these. And then in the case, so this is 5, this is 8, and this is 10. For Q and Z. Okay, pretty ugly code here, but I guess it gets the job done. So then what we're going to do is after the while loop, we're going to printf and call the Scrabble value is, and then we'll insert here %d and insert here the total. And then we're going to return 0. So if we come back up here, run gcc-0 exe / here, enter a word, we'll enter pitfall, Scrabble value 0, dang it. Uh-oh. Okay, so let me go like this. Let me print F to the char. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so it's getting all the chars, which is good. Oh, so it's not uppercase. Got you. So let's do, we need to include the, what's it? Is it stir IO? I don't know. What is the to upper in? Let's look. To upper. C types.h. So let's go include here the C types.h. And let's go C dot to upper, right? Is it a method? I don't think it's a method. Is okay. So we're to call C equals to upper the int C, the char C. What if we do this? C types.h not found. C type.h, my bad. $13. What? AEILNORTSU is 1 point. DG is 2 points. BCMP is 3 points. VHFWY is 4 points. 5 points is just K. My bad. My bad. So case K go up by 5 points. Nice. That one's done. Let's get some feedback on that one. This is basically correct and well structured. You've got the control and the switch. To upper must receive either EOF or an unsigned char value. Right now, our to upper unsigned char. Okay, that's probably better to do. So let's do int ch, right? We're going to do ch here for call to get char. Okay? We're then going to call char unsigned char c is equal to 2 upper on ch. So this does 2 upper, casts the ch using unsigned char in here. Does this work instead of the cast? Only if ch is already saved. Long edge is an important nuance. All of ctype.h functions, including 2 upper, require an argument to be EOF or presentable as an unsigned char. That requirement applies to arguments passed into 2 upper, not to the stored afterwards. So the best way to do it is to anticipate. So it'd be what? C is equal to, right, a call of 2 upper casting unsigned char to the ch variable. Interesting. Undeclared identifier C. Not equal to EOF, whatever that is. Unused declarifier C. This is a pure C scope error. Requires an unuse of identifier C. C does not exist in the scope or using it at all. Okay, so you have to declare, even though I cast it, I still have to declare unsigned char C to be here like this. There we go. Okay, interesting, right? Ah, shoot. The chat's probably covering the output. My bad, you guys. There you go. I look up to the discipline you have. How do you do it? Oh, whoops. Let me get a tissue. Hold up. Honestly, I've been feeling a little bit, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've been feeling a little bit lack of discipline lately. I've been kind of slacking. I haven't done a lot of daily streams. I've been taking a lot of days off, not compounding the material as much lately. And I have been facing the price. I've been, becoming a little bit slower. I've been forgetting some of my learning that I've done, especially in Python and whatnot. And um, I don't know. It is just depressing with the market. I'm trying not to let the market affect us because we're trying to do this for fun and because we want to learn how to program, not because of the market. But when any chance of maybe applying this in the industry is getting wrecked, it's really disheartening. But really trying to focus on just learning the programming and the learning aspect with you guys. So thanks for being here. Appreciate everybody for joining me. Okay, cool. So that is that's number 5. My neck is all kinked up. Okay, let's go number 6. Okay. Write a program that prints the values of size of int, size of short, size of long, size of float, size of double, and size of long double. Okay. Doesn't seem too bad. So let's go include the standard io.h header file. Let's write a main function here for void. Let's open this up. We're going to call int n equals to 10. Short s equals to 1. Long L is equal to 50,000. No, it's way higher. Like 3 mil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't have to be the size, right? It doesn't have to fit in it, but it'll already be in it, but it'll have the same. It doesn't matter, never mind. We have double, which is equal to, we'll say this is d, which is equal to 10.0 float. Do you use a D? No, you don't. Use an L. I don't know. Could you use an L instead of? And then long double, which is LD, is going to be equal to, let's say this is 100.f, whatever. And now we're going to go look up the size of function here. So the size of function, or operator, so we can call printf to size of, and then call size of n, and then let's see what happens. Ooh. GCC-0 exe okay, so you have to do a printf. We're going to do a %s and insert the size of n, but size of takes an integer, returns back. For printing, you would do the size of for that specific ZU. For int. Okay, good. So we're going to go size of int is this. Okay, size of short, which I believe just goes this. And we're going to put in S here. But this is going to be, these are giving back integer values. So what does the Z specifier do? Z U conversion specifier. The ZU and printf scanf conversion specifier is used for size underscore t. Z length modifier, meaning this is the argument of the size t, where u is an undersigned integer decimal. Because these are all going to be positive values, we can use the u. And we're calling z because we know that by using the size of, it's calling that macro of the size underscore t for these specific types, right? Okay. So then if we do size of a long, I guess this will go size of L, size of a double here, and size of a long double. Okay. So let's just add some backslash new lines here. My neck is like all kinked up. Oh my gosh. Oh. Okay, let's see what prints here. Size of int is 4, size of short is 2, size of long is 8, size of double is 8, and size of long double is 8. Okay, let's see if that is correct. Yep, those results make perfect sense for your machine. Mac OS 64-bit system. Nice. Okay, cool. That's that guy. Bot in Twitch chat. Yeah, we get the bots sometimes. In my opinion, it's best to actually give variables proper names, as it's a good habit to go ahead and build with larger programs. Even with personal project, I'm so wonderful. Just T mean. Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's keep pushing. We're making some good progress. Number 7 here. Modify programming project 6 from chapter 3 so that users may add, subtract, multiply, or divide two fractions by entering either this, the difference between the fractions. Okay, so programming project 6 from chapter 3. Programming project number 6 from chapter 3. Add two fractions. So we're going to take this programming project and go into number 7 here. Okay, so we have add into two fractions, which are provided with plus sign. Okay. So for this one, they just do these do cross multiplication and sum those together. But for multiplying fractions, let me think here. You just go straight across and reduce. Okay. Okay, so this is for adding or now subtracting. So for subtracting fractions, you also have to find a least common denominator. Dang. That's kind of annoying. Okay, so that they can put in any character here, right? Okay, so we can do a similar approach with this one, but okay, so how do we do this one? So we can say scan F, and we're going to read this into here. And then how can I say, we're going to do percent %C here. And then I'm going to insert char C here, right? So then we're going to say if C is equal to quote plus sign, right, we're going to do the following. Right, we're going to do the results for the numerator, results for the denominator, and do them over the top. Right, and print it out. Okay, else if C is equal to quote minus sign, right, we're going to do the similar approach here, but just do a subtraction here. If it's a multiplication sign, we're going to cross multiply, right? Which is just, oh, just multiply straight across, right? Sorry. So this is going to be that times that, result denominator, that times that. Else if C is equal to quote division, we're going to do a similar approach here, but do division, right? And then if we go here, integrated terminal, GCC-O, so format specifier char star, target has type int star. Oh, then data, yeah, so we need to do num, denominator, ampersand C, and there. Okay, two fractions with, so we'll do 1/2 plus 1/2, 4/4, 1 whole. Great. I think that we're okay, right? Now let's do this 1/2 times 1/2, right? So this should be a fourth. Perfect. Now if we do one more time, 1/2 divided by 1/2 is 1. Perfect. Now if we do this one more time and let's do 1/2 times 1/2, but like this, 1/4. Perfect. So now let's get some feedback. You're very close. The structure is right, but there's three important correctness issues. One, robustness improvement to address. Division case is mathematically wrong. This is the biggest issue. Oh, my bad. A times D, B times C. So in division, it's num1 times dnom2. And then dnom1 times num2. Okay, so now that should work. So it's 1/4 divided by 1/5, 5/4. Scanf, space before this matters. You did this right. Space before the %C is important. Tell scanf to skip white space to prevent C from actually reading leftover will. Let's catch here. So if dnom ever equals to 0, right, we need to add that case. So if dnom1 is equal to 0 or dnom2 is equal to 0, right, then we're going to printf error division by 0 and return 1. The result is, okay, let's get some feedback here. Oh, my bad. Demon. Missing a semicolon after the printf. Okay. By a plus minus star division. Okay. Run. 1/2 plus 1/2, 4/4. Perfect. Nice. All right, I think that one's done. All right. Number 8. Modify programming project 8 from chapter 5 so the user enters a time using the 12-hour clock. The input will have the form hours to minutes, followed by either A, P, AM, or PM. Enter either lowercase or uppercase. White space is allowed but not required between the numerical time and the AM/PM indicator. Examples of valid input are this. So from programming project number 8 from chapter 5. Okay, programming project number 8 from chapter 5. Okay, so we take in an absolute value here, function. Right. So this basically says if a is less than 0, then return negative a, else return positive a. So this will make a multiplied by -1 to return an absolute value, okay? So we want to modify it so the user enters a time using the 12-hour clock. Enter a 12-hour time. Hours and minutes. So if hours is less than or greater than 12, or minutes is less than 0, or minutes is greater than 59, then invalid 12-hour time. Time in minutes is the hours by 60 plus minutes. Okay, so my neck is all kinked up. So we need to follow by either A, P, AM, or PM. What will the output be? The 12-hour time or the closest departure time? Oh, so the closest departure time given the total time, got you. So hours and minutes, time in minutes. Now they can give an AM or PM indication, right? So what we're going to have to do is we read in scanf hours and minutes, and then we're also going to read in a %C here, right? Which is going to be saved into period, right? So if I go char period, so unsigned char period, right? So we give a period here. Time in minutes. So you're either going to enter in P or A within the first value of the char, right? So we're going to say maybe we'll say this. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll say get char. No, because we want to scanf into this format. Right, and then what if we say C equals to get I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. So if we say if C So what I can do is if C as if C no, because this might get how do you receive only huh. This one's a little bit tougher. So we would need to have the user enter a 12-hour time, right? And then give out the closest time for departure, right? So then if we scan F for this here, if this is going to save in 1 byte a char value, which will be an integer. But what if it's multiple values? This one's tricky. Not really sure. I'm getting stuck on the period part. Okay, so if we just scan F into the period, we haven't learned about indexing though. We haven't learned about arrays. So skip white space and read the first character. Skip additional white space and read the second character if it exists. Okay, so that's interesting. Come on. Oh my god. Okay, so let me drag this. Come on, dude. Holy crap. So you could have unsigned char period. first and second. Okay, you scan F and read in this into period. So let's remove this. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to call scanf and read in a %C with optional spacing and save that in first, right? And then so if first, you scan F for the first character. How does this work? Hey Cozy, how's it going? Am I shy, bro? What? So strange. So int. Okay, so we scan the first value. Let's go like this. So we scan the first value. We go ctype.h. Okay, so we scan in the first character. We then go C equals to, or no, first equals to unsigned char of to upper unsigned char C right, and we say I guess we don't need this. We can say if first is equal to quote A or first is equal to quote A, then what we're going to do is leave it the same. Okay, so then we're going to say if first is equal to A or first is equal to capital A, then what happens? Nothing is going to happen to, right, we would need to convert it so if it's equal to P or big P, we need to go and do hours equals to $12. So we're going to plus equal by 12, right? Well, actually, hold on. So if it's A or big A, hours stays where it's at, but if you put in 12 o'clock, it needs to go to 0 for AMs, right? So if hours is equal to 12, hours is equal to 0, right? But then we say else if first is equal to, quote, P, or first is equal to, quote, big P, then if hours is equal to, or not equal to, sorry, 12, then we need to set hours to plus equal 12. Right, because if it's 12, we don't want to, that's our 0, and we can do time in minutes here. Something like this. So if I go to programming project number 8, GCC-0, enter 12-hour time. Let's say it's 1:20 p.m. The closest departure time is 12:47 p.m., arriving at 3 p.m. So then if I go and bring this out do it one more time. So let's say we did it at 9:23 a.m. Closest departure is 9:43 a.m., arriving at 11:52 a.m. Okay. So why did I get I go 2 p.m., right? This should be 1400 in military time. And so that's 2 o'clock. So there should be, I think, at 2 p.m. Yeah. Now if I do 2:30, it should still give me 2 p.m. Nice. So, but if I give 1:30 p.m., this gives me the closest departure time is 2 p.m. Because I'm over the I think we're close here. Hey Silva, how's it going? Silva, welcome, welcome. All right, let's take this into here. Let's get some feedback. Okay, how does this look? Char is enough, unsigned char isn't necessary. We can just do char. I put in 1:30. It gives. So why do I put in 1:30 p.m. and it goes here? So if 2 p.m. is less than 10 minutes, if 3:45 p.m. is less than 10 minutes. Oh, so if you're in between 2 and 3:45, you go to this guy. But that's not happening. So if I give 1:30 p.m., my closest departure time is 12 p.m. So 1:30 p.m. gives closest time of 2, not. One 1:30 p.m. is converted to 13:30, 810 minutes. Else if only checks if the current time is closer to the next departure date, not the closest overall. For 810 minutes, 1:30 p.m., the comparison is false, so it moves on to the next, which it picks 2 p.m. .43, which is less than 30, which is false. Since you haven't learned, right? So you could give so what we could do is this. My bad. Int closest departure, which is equal to 8 a.m., and int smallest diff, which is equal to the absolute value of our 8 a.m. time less than our time in minutes. Okay, then we check if absolute value of 9:43 a.m. minus the time in minutes is less than the smallest diff. Right? If that's the case, then the closest departure time is equal to 9:43 a.m. and the smallest diff is equal to the absolute value of 9:43 a.m. less than the time in minutes. Okay. Okay, this is going to be 9:11:19 a.m. Okay. Now this is going to be 12:47 p.m. Okay. I'm going to take this guy right here. 2 p.m. Three 45 p.m. 7 p.m. and then 9:45 p.m. here. Else, okay. So then we're going to say okay, so then if I go here, recompile this. Oh gosh. On line 50. Line 62. This doesn't close. Ah, 58, 64. Ah, so many bugs. So many bugs. All right. Oh, hold on. Oh gosh. 9:43 a.m. Okay, so if I say 9:43 a.m. is equal to the smallest diff. Closest departure time is equal to 9:43 a.m. So if the time in minutes is less than... Because if I don't... Interesting. So if it says okay, so it's hitting these prints. Okay. So we don't want these to be else ifs. We want these to be if statements so that they can, once they check, it breaks out. Once it gets a pass, it breaks out, right? And then we'll do also have an if statement here. I guess we'll take this one. Nine 45 p.m. 20 minutes, right? Stays less than, okay. So then we have so it's going to take this chunk here. It's just a bunch of print statements. So I don't feel bad taking this one. So if it's just a bunch of print statements to solve this portion here, right? So we can get rid of all of these. At 4 p.m. So this still gives 1:30 p.m. Is that right? Are we supposed to, if it's over the time? So if you give 7 a.m., it gives you 8 a.m. But if you go over 8 a.m., 8:10 a.m., oh, because 1:30 was an hour and a half over this one compared to, it's only a half hour to this one compared to an hour and 13 minutes. Okay, I get you. Oh, so it's giving it for either direction. Got you. So because the 12:30 is 43 minutes compared to 30 minutes or whatever, it'll go to the 2 p.m. Okay, cool. So it's not like a It's not like it's not like if you're over the time, it's past like the flight. So it's like, okay, it's not even going to mention that one because it's not even possible. It just wants to know, if I give you this time, what's the closest flight either in the plus direction or in the minus time direction? Absolute, right? Got you. Okay, that was cool. So what we had to do was we had to modify our input to accept 12-hour time, do a scanf for the actual the trailing PM or AM. The first character, if it's A, we set hours to 0 if hours is 12. Else, if hours is not 12 and it's PM, we increase hours by 12, right? So if you have 12 AM, or sorry, 12 PM, it would go to 24, right, for 24-hour time. Then we compute the total time in minutes, and then do just logic gating for if that time is absolute value of the previous or the post. Cool. Nice. Number 9 here. Let's get caught up on some chats. This is such a great book. I suggest going over a dedicated memory management book by Malund, and after that, CSPP book. It's a classic, but don't get the global edition. Yeah, definitely. I'm wanting to really dive deeper into C and just my goal is to really understand programming and what's going on with computer and how I'm interacting with it, like it's second nature almost. I really would like to be able to just answer questions that people ask me regarding programming and what's going on with computer and just know, and then be able to just like fluently write, C code as if I was writing like English words. We're kind of getting there in Python, but definitely not. Definitely need a lot more practice and more stuff going on for sure. Hey XRSX, welcome. Hi, I'm willing to dive deep into C. Currently only know the basics. How do I start? I have prior coding knowledge on web dev. Nice, dude. Yeah, you should just join us here on this stream. I stream myself almost every single day, teaching myself computer science and programming, like Python and C and whatnot. I've been reading this book, C Programming: A Modern Approach, live on the channel here, doing all the post chapter questions and whatnot live here. So you can go back through on my channel and look at the videos I've uploaded, which are like audiobooks for the reading we've done. And then also in the streams recaps, you can see the in the VODs, you can see me solve these problems. But this is chapter 7 on types in C. So we learned about a bunch of more additional types besides just the integer, float. We learned about char, long, double, long, double, long, all that jazz. This was a dense chapter for sure. Okay, let's try number 9 here. Write a program that asks the user for a 12-hour time, then displays the time in 24-hour form. Okay, so we'll include the standard I/O. Oh my gosh. .h header file. We'll int main void. Okay. We're going to have the user enter printf, enter a 12-hour time, and we're going to leave it at that. We're going to scan f and read in a %hours, or %d, sorry, %m, or %d, sorry, for hours and minutes. We'll save these in hours and minutes. We'll come up here and save here int hours and minutes. We'll compute a, so then we're going to have to, this scans those, leaving anything after that wasn't numbered. Okay. So then we'll have char first. We'll go scanf. We'll save this in %C and save this in the value of first. Right? You can give a space. We're going to say if quote A equals to if first equals to quote A, or our first equals to quote capital A, right? We're going to if hours, so this is an AM, so if hours is 12 AM, if hours is equal to 12, right, we're going to set hours equal to 0. Yeah. Now, just take this, put that in there. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll say else if first is equal to quote P, or first is equal to quote P, right? We're going to say if hours is not equal to 12, right? We're going to say hours plus equals by 12 hours and move forward. Now this is going to print out in 24-hour time. So this will convert our hours to appropriately to 24-hour time. Our minute stays the same. Let's go ahead and grab this gating that we did earlier, right here. Oop. We'll put this gating up front, right here. So then what we'll do is we'll print F, and we'll print out percent, or we'll print out equivalent 24-hour time is this %D colon %D, and then we're going to insert into here hours, minutes, and return 0. That might be it. Let's just see if we have any errors. No. Okay, enter a 12-hour time. Let's say our 12-hour time is 7 a.m. Equivalent hour time is 7. Okay, fine. So then we'll do 2 decimals rounded here, if it 2 digits rounded, and then we'll give a \n as well. Let's go ahead and compile, run. 7:31. Let's do 7:30 a.m. 7:30. 24-hour time. Let's do 7:30 p.m. 1930. Which 12 is 12, 1 is 13, 2 is 14, Plus another 5 would be 19. Nice, I think that's working. So then if we do 1:30 p.m., 13:30. Let's get some feedback on this one. Converting to 24-hour time. Let's get some feedback on this guy. Oh, come on. What happened here? Right now you're using scanf space %C and %first. This only reads the first character of AM, PM, which works for this alone. Huh. Technically, at 0 hours is invalid. Oh yeah, 0 hour it is invalid. 24-hour time. So we can't use indexing. So you take in the period with a %C here after in the scanf. You validate hours. Okay, so you don't even need to do this scanf here. I was right earlier when I tried to do it in that other one. So we can do period here and say char period. Reads only one character. Does it read only one char because that is the behavior of the char type? When you declare variables char, it can only hold a single characters. When you do space %C for a char in scanf, only reads one non-space white character from the input and stores in the period. Gotcha. Cool. So that does get this one. Hey, Street Annie, welcome. Keep it up, bro. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for joining me. You're awesome. If you don't have problems that solve that require to learn C, then it's a waste of time. But if you work in low latency real-time apps or low-level stuff, then go for it. I'd be wary to listen to anybody online tell you that your time is a waste of time, especially if you're doing something productive like learning. So don't listen to people in chat that tell you you're wasting time when time is really relative to however you find value in it. Now, if you're learning and improving yourself in learning programming, that probably has more value potentially, depending on how you see it, on things maybe like video games or other thing, right? Based on whatever you can extract out of it to use after the fact, whatever you gain from it. So yeah, be careful with kind of giving advice like that. Okay, cool. This chapter is about types in C. Which book would I recommend for Python? Yeah, that's a good question. So on my channel, I've been demoing a lot of practice problems for Python for you guys from back when I first learned Python. So that was the first language I ever dove into when learning programming and teaching myself here after work. So for those that are new here, my name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I work as a professional formulation chemist for a biotech company where I manufacture biological controls that are used in patient diagnostics. and I do a lot of like manipulation of like theorem-based arrays and matrices. I have been doing a lot of that manually, and I've been teaching myself how to code to help improve myself at work, and I've been just going and expanding on from there. So for learning Python, I highly suggest you do the Python Crash Course by Eric Maths. This book is free online. There's links online. It's got great in-text practice problems, and it's really awesome to pair with Harvard CS50P. Harvard CS50P is the Introduction Python course offered by Harvard CS50. If you pair that course with this book, it will pretty much set you up with all of the beginner information to be able to start building your own first projects. At least in my opinion, I think it's very suitable for that. CS50P does have some gaps and kind of moves pretty quickly through the material. So this book really helps to pick up the slack that CS50P leaves behind and fills in all the information. Now, this book, I will preface, is a little bit elementary. It does have kind of examples along the lines of dog, cat, pizza, car, right? When you're manipulating data and strings, you're using these kind of more basic elementary examples, which might seem a little bit boring to some people. But if you're really trying to understand the syntax and what's going on with the language, it's really important to not FUD things up or like make things more difficult with using variables and descriptors that you're trying to think about what the actual variable is describing and what's going on in the code. This book really helps to eliminate that purpose by making things so simple in terms of code syntax and whatever, that you really can only have to focus on what is actually going on with what you're writing rather than the words you're actually writing. If that makes sense. Like, I'm not worrying about what this variable actually means because it's just dog, cat. Like it's very, very self-explanatory. I can then instead focus on the actual problem I'm solving and trying to learn. So highly suggest you do this. I've been going back through and solving the exercises for the try it yourself problems. They're pretty easy. I've been going back through and posting demo videos on my channel. So consider checking those out if you would like to, binge watch the series of, Python Crash Course solution videos. Those are currently being uploaded almost every week as I continually churn those out. So we just about to wrap up chapter 5 for those try it yourself demos. I've already read the book and completed it, but I'm just going back through and getting some more content for you guys. So Harvard CS50 and Python Crash Course are the two go-tos for learning, in my opinion, for Python. And then if you get a little bit more advanced, which we are still in the process of, I've been reading this off stream more, is Fluent Python. So this is a big old book. This book really goes in deeper into Python about kind of more tricks and stuff that you can do with, object-oriented programming, functional programming, types of more in-depth definitions about the types of objects in Python. Learning about hash maps and dictionaries more, learning more about ASCII and character values, learning more about how C actually is compiling the code down and interpreting it into C, or Python is interpreting the code into C. All that kind of stuff is kind of in here, and I've been going through off stream and reading this one. So highly suggest you take a look at those if you're wanting to learn more about Python. But this is C Programming, a Modern Approach, 2nd edition by K.N. King. We are on chapter 7 here, about to wrap it up, completing the programming practice problems. We just completed problem number 9. And so we're about to take a stab at probably, we might call it potentially closer to 8 p.m. today, and then come back tomorrow and finish up the chapter. Chapter 7 here is pretty dense. It's about types in C, and it's a lot of new information that we haven't learned before. So it did take us a little bit further to get through. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Floey, for the follow. Thank you so much to Austin on Twitch for the follow as well. You guys are awesome. Yeah, those are my recommendations. Sorry for the ramble. I'm learning farmer right now. You're the kind of guy I was looking to be. That's so cool. Nice. I appreciate you and those kind words. You're so awesome. One of the best resources for learning C, if not, is Handmade Hero. Oh, isn't that is Handmade Hero the Casey Moratori series? I'm learning farmer right now. Okay, I read that one. Sorry. I was watching. I've seen the first, I think, 2 episodes of the Handmaid Hero series. I watched them kind of in my spare time, at work, like off to the side while I was doing some work and stuff. And it was I was really wanting to get I wanting to like get to the memory part first before I kind of continued that series because this book does go pretty slow and but I like that it really grinds you through everything. Like it's really grinding us through what C is and all of these different things before it starts giving us too much power. E. Silva. Almost everything is C. Postgres, Git, Linux, kernel, SQL, Python. C gives you power to do anything, and you manage memory correctly. This is the problem. Rust born to be secure. C. Strategy is run there. You can store some integers in chars, but not really recommended. But since it's a byte, you can hold up to 127 int value. Nice. Malars. Hi, Mike. Currently, I'm journeying using Python on VS Code. I'm currently doing the if-else stuff, making a calculator. If I can make a calculator without nodes from 1 to 100, what level am I at? I don't know. I don't know if I'm the guy to be clarifying like what people's levels are because I'm a noob too. I often specify like I don't really think you should be learning from me here. You're learning with me. I'm not here to teach you anything. I am a learner myself. I'm a beginner. I've only been learning programming for a year and a half now. I have a little bit of more of an advanced Python knowledge, a little bit more of a beginner C knowledge here. So, and we're learning together. So, but that's what I like to preface. Why do you use Mac for programming? Because it's makes it easy with iPhone. Because iPhone. I aspire to be a front-end developer with the Lenovo T480 would be a good device for now. That's a solid computer. It's a little bit old. You could probably upgrade some of the stuff in it because it's pretty modular. A lot of those Lenovo's are. Maybe go for like a T490S, or maybe even the X1 Carbon. You can probably find like an i7 that's pretty cheap. You're what I aspire to be. Not gonna lie, I entered my first year of college in about 3 months. Can I give you a quick explanation of how you study programming right now? Oh, can you give a quick explanation of how you study programming right now? Yeah, sure. So for those that are new, my name is Michael. I have a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry, and I work as a formulation chemist. I graduated back in the end of 2021. And I was just kind of tired I was just kind of really tired of doing nothing after work, letting the critical thinking I developed in college kind of fade. It's really a muscle that you have to really work at or it atrophies. And so I was like, well, I can either continue on with chemistry and biology or I can maybe start to try something new. And so I wanted to try something new. I wanted to see if I could compound this knowledge into biology and chemistry. And so far I have been able to. I've been able to write some pretty cool software for my company, just in regards of some smaller programs to compute some automation for us in our formulation. But yeah, it's going good so far. I typically only do 2 or 3 hours after work almost every single day. I really try to just stay consistent. I really try to just focus on the learning. I'm not. I have that privilege where I do have a job, so I'm not really grinding for a job, and so I don't really need to have that pressure. I kind of can just focus on the fun aspects of programming and learning. But that doesn't mean I don't maybe want to dive into software engineering eventually if I give an opportunity. But I don't know if there will be an opportunity ever because the world is ended. So I don't know. Welcome everybody. We got quite the crew in here. It's popping tonight. We're almost, if you guys could subscribe and like the stream, we got over 50 people in here. This place is jumping right now. Let's go. We're jumping. Okay, let's keep going on our C programming here while we got people. All right, we're going to do number 10 here. Write a program that counts the number of vowels A, E, I, O, and U in a sentence. Okay. So we can use the, we can use the getchar method. Oh, wait, what happened here? Let's use the getchar method. So let's go include the standard io.h. Let's go int main void. And then what we're going to do is we're going to print the number of vowels. So we're going to have int count, and then we're going to have a printf statement that we're going to say enter a sentence, right? And then we're going to leave it at that. I guess we'll say is while char c while char c is equal to get char, and that value is not equal to a quote period, right? Because the sentence will end on a period. Oh, but it might not. Maybe we'll just make it a \n then. So while we're doing this, let's open this up, and then we'll say if the char is equal to quote a, or c is equal to, I guess we can do a switch statement here. So let's do a switch on the c variable, where we will say case of quote a but we don't really care if it's alphabetical or whatever. So we can just two upper everything. So let's go like this. Unsigned char ch is equal to, or we'll get converted char is equal to, can we say unsigned char of c, but what did I do before? Hold on, so I did something up here. Okay, two upper on the unsigned cast of the value. Okay, so I go two upper on the unsigned cast char of c, which gets saved into unsigned char converted char. We then do a switch statement for the case a, case quote b, case quote c. Oh no, okay, sorry, it's a, e, I, o, u. A, e, I, o, and u, right? What we're going to do is we're going to go count plus equal 1, and then break out of this switch. Okay, so we have a count. We say enter a sentence. The user enters a sentence. We loop over using get char, collecting every character of the sentence in the c variable. We convert that c variable to upper and cast an unsigned char to it and save the unsigned char in converted char. We're going to evaluate the switch statement over the converted char for these cases, a, e, I, o, u, and probably case sometimes y, right? That's English. And, oh, no, y is not actually included in the instructions, so we'll leave it off. And then we need to print out at the end of this while loop your sentence contains 6 vowels. Oh, sorry, not contains %d vowels, and we're going to insert into here or no, the count, right? Cool, so that'll handle that. Now the thing is do we need to add in a case for when this converted char does not meet one of these? Will it break out for any default case? Let me switch. Let me look up here. Switch case default case. Ah, come on. Switch case and C default case. Okay, so you just can put default as the keyword, is the keyword. Will the default already happen is like inferred? Let's ask that. Is default when a case isn't met inferred? No, and see the cases, default case is not inferred. It only executes if you explicitly write it. Iterable case, switch case for end of iteration. So let me rephrase that. Will the switch auto break if not found a case? No. So then what happens if no case found and no default? If no case matches in C switch and there's no default, then there's nothing inside the switch executes. The program simply continues with the statement after the switch block. Okay, so, I mean, we wouldn't really need it then, but it's okay. So let's go ahead and open up this right here. Let's do gcc-o. Let's make this exe there. Oh, no. Oh, whoops. These need to be single quotes. No. And then we need a call to include for the to upper function. See type.h. Okay, and then we have an error here. Error expected parenthesis. So if we say int c here, c equals a get char. Result of comparison against a string littles unspecified. It's \n, right? Yeah, single quote \n. Okay, I got to remember single quotes when doing single chars, double quotes for doing strings. Enter a sentence. Hello, my name is Michael. This has 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7? Oh! Bruh. Alright, we definitely failed that. So did that overflow? I mean, I'm not sure why it would, why we got a negative. So we declare an integer count, an integer c. Maybe we don't declare an integer c. Well, I get char c, which is an integer. Oh, I don't instantiate count to be anything. My bad, you guys. We needed to instantiate count to actually be a number. Hello, my name is Michael. 8 vowels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Eight, yeah, 8 vowels. Perfect. All right. I think that one's good. Let me go ahead and catch up on some chats here. Yeah, 55 people. That's pretty nice. Hey, James Peralta, what's going on, y'all? Welcome in, dude. I've honestly been using an M1 with 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's been great for programming, but it's possible to get an M3 or M2. Yeah, my computer is an M3 MacBook Pro, not as the M3 Pro chip, not the base M3, not the base M3 Pro, but the upgraded graphics chip for the M3 Pro, but not the M3 Max. Apple's naming scheme, bro. Come on, it's trolling, man. Any older secondhand machine do a test on battery age and replace the same for SSD age or everything? What do you think of Linux guys? Computational biology. Hey, Muhammad, what's going on? Yeah, we studying right now. What's going on? And Casey emphasizes from The Handmade Hero a lot that malloc/free pattern is not the way to go. The most modern programming technology unfortunately tries to mitigate the symptoms instead of fixing it. If you're a beginner, I would not recommend that you use Fedora. That use a little bit too much, especially if you have no experience in programming. Clamping, bounding is big when the data is sensitive, but it can eat a lot of resources. I'm actually a 4th-year CS student with specializing on machine learning, but I really find front end more interesting than machine learning. And yeah, it would be my first time to switch to Linux. Ridoge, nice, dude. You don't really hear that often, like ML people trying to go to front end. It seems like a lot of people from front end are trying to get out of front end to more, like I don't know if it's deeper technologies, like whatever, like ML stuff. Yeah, I'm not sure. Personally, I would just get the string length of the sentence and just if statements to check if the char is a vowel or not. Personally, I would get the string length of a sentence and just if statements to check if it's a vowel or not. Yeah, basically the same thing. Switch case statements with if statements. Basically, like, yeah. Switch cases are generally useful if you want multiple cases. If you're doing only one case, it's more real just do a single if condition. That's technically multiple cases. Just a fall through to the U case. Yeah, I guess, yeah, there's multiple cases, and we learned about that fall through, right? Where, okay, this case is met, but this case is also met. So all these cases apply under that fall through principle, right? You can have the cases like fall through one another if they all mean the same result for whatever that case is supposed to specify. Yeah, like son of Blanche mentioned. That's a funny name. I know, AJ. We got 50 viewers in here. We're popping today, huh? Leave a like if you're enjoying the C stream. I try to stream almost every single day around 7 p.m. PST um, to you guys and learning how to program and teaching myself computer science and programming completely transparent. Trying my best to be honest and fluid with you guys. Add a bracket around each vowel. I don't know, actually use a visual cue. So you get a super similar experience in the terminal. I've used an M1 MacBook Air baseline for 3.5 years of comp sci uni. For my first year of coding in college, I'm going to be taking up CS, really interested in backend and machine learning. I've downloaded a bunch of books about Python and C. I haven't started studying yet, though. Nice, Mr. J. You should join us here. We study reading books just like what you're talking about almost every single day. This is a great place to be for just kind of learning and, whether you're directly focusing on what we're doing on the screen or you're just having it in the background to hold yourself accountable. I think that's a really great tool to use the stream as, because people have a hard time holding themselves accountable, disciplining themselves, getting themselves to do these types of things that maybe are just investing in yourself. If you're struggling with that and wanting to get better, and kind of having a community on a daily basis to kind of join to do some studying, you could put the stream on and just chat with me and do your own studying in the background for whatever you're doing. Okay. Is this one going to be hard? Let's check. Number 11. Write a program that takes a first name and last name entered by the user and displays the last name, comma, and then the first name followed by a period. And the first initial followed by a period. Oh. This one seems kind of fun. Let's give it a try. Let's give this one a try. Oh. Whoops. This is number 11. Wait, what just happened? What just happened to my directory? Did I move it somewhere? What? If you guys want access to all of these notes can be found on my GitHub link down below. If you want to get access to all of these problems and the answers I've come up with, you guys can look at them linked down below. Weird, something happened with my file. Oh, .c. Okay. Let's try this again. What's up, code 7404? Once you have completed the exercise, try to extend the program with previous lessons. Color coding the output is a classical one. Yeah, the directory is on GitHub. Finding good resources that aren't tutorial can be hard and discouraging. Yeah, that's what I've really tried to do. I'm not like doing tutorials. I'm actually trying to like do real world, like original projects. Like that's kind of what my projects have been so far. Okay, let's do number 11 here. So we're going to include the standard io.h header file. And we're going to have int main void for our main function. Okay, we are going to write a program that takes the first name and last name entered by the user. So we're going to do, we're not going to save these values anywhere. So we could do this. We haven't learned about strings yet, right? We only learned about characters. We can't do like a string array yet. We need, or a char array. So in order to do this one, we need to get all of their characters delimited by the space for whatever their first name is delimited by the last name with a space, and then reformat it. So maybe we just do a printf here for enter a first and last name. Okay, we open this up. And then the thing is with scanf is we have to save those into variables. I don't want to do that. So maybe we'll do this. While int c equals to get char and so while int c equals to get char, and that does not equal to quote, I guess we'll do a space. No, because this only prints okay, so if we're going to take in the first name, we only need the first character. Right? So we'll just get char once. Okay, we'll just actually do this. We'll say first name, first letter equals to get char. We'll call it int here, right? We'll get char here. I guess we could just call it char to make it more. Okay, so this goes first name, first letter. We'll take in the first name of the first letter completely, right? So that'll take the L. Then we'll say while get char is not equal to a space, we're going to continue, right? We're going to just continue this loop until we meet a point where we hit a space. So we're going to continue. Now I could maybe say while get char, if it's equal to a space, then we break, and then run get char again and print out let's see here. So if we continue while until we hit a space, now we hit a space. Now we need to get rid of the get char. So we'll say we'll just say temp equals to, we'll just say the space equals to get char again here. So that'll clear out the space that we're on. And then we can print out the value of the actual. Now, can I run a scanf here and do %? No, because I can't save the string yet because we haven't learned it. So let's go ahead and just do while int c equals to get char, and that does not equal to a quote \n close quote. Right, what we're going to do is loop through until we go to the end, printing the actual value of the char here, right? So we'll print out the last name in order, and then we're going to print out a comma, and then printf a literal space, or we can just actually do it in one printf call, my bad here. And we're going to do %char here and put in the first name, first letter. So we call printf to enter first and last name. Okay. We run getchar over this. Getchar will take out the first letter of this, which is the first letter of the first name, and save that into C. No, sorry, save that into first letter. We will then iterate over the standard out, or sorry, the standard in, and until there is a space, which will be the space delimiting the two words. We will then break out of the loop once we land on this space. We're going to call this is going to go C equals to getchar, and then that's going to equal a space. So space is already going to be saved in C. So maybe we actually don't need to do this call. We can instead just go ahead and override the current space value with another getchar call until we reach the end of the string, printing out the last name, then printing out the first letter with a comma in front of it. Okay, let's try this. GCC-0, this boy, exe. No! Oh, sorry. Here. Ooh! Okay, so yeah, that's happening here. Okay, it doesn't like it when I declare the variable in the while loop. So if I say int c here, ooh! Okay, so we're getting the second part right, but we're not doing this part right. Let me do this, printf, and we'll do %c here. And we'll put in C and see what we get. Ah! Ah! Eichel M. Okay. So your first name, last name. This kit's char. Okay, so this. Oh, okay, so then it's saying it's printing C, then it's getting to this space. And then it's not actually printing. So why is this print not happening? Let's maybe change the variable to ch. Maybe something's happening with the variable. I don't think I can declare it inside of here, though. We'll find out. No, it doesn't like that when I do that. So let's do... Ah, come on. So many boogie. Boogie. Okay, we're back to this. Okay, so this continues until we hit a space. So let me go ahead and print F in between here. And let's print F %C. And let's put in the C character here. And let's see what that prints us. And I'm going to say here, put that there, and then do a new line. Okay, I'll see if we get a space there. Yes, we do. So why does calling C equals get char not continue on with our standard, with what's in the standard out? Or the standard in, I'm sorry. Right, so we're continuing over all the values until we hit the space. Now we're on the last name. So we'll get char until we hit a \n for a new line. That means this is over. We're going to print the value of C, which is nothing in this instance. Oh, Hey, what's going on, NEO96? How's it going? No, we haven't learned about arrays yet in the book. Okay, so why isn't the last name being picked up is my question. Let's ask that. I want to learn about that. So why is it doing that? My last name isn't getting picked up. I'm not seeing it. Issue with the operator precedence. The get char is evaluated first because it's a higher precedence than this. Oh, I'm so dumb. Wow, that's why. It's just a simple order of operations. It wasn't actually the code, it was just the order of operations. Cool. All right, nice. Let's get rid of this. And let's go here. Michael Deming. Deming M. Nice. Followed by a period. right? I think it wanted a period. Nice. Let's go. Ah, okay. That was right. Ah, why does it keep doing that? One letter uses the middle. The first name will be M. I didn't know that I used Michael Deming. What the heck? How did it know I used Michael Deming? I didn't give it that. No way. How did it know that? How did it know that? How did it know that I used the input Michael Deming? I did not give it the input Michael Deming. How does it know that I'm using my name? Yo, this is crazy, actually. How is it knowing that it's using my name as input? No. Maybe the error I got earlier? Did I give it that? How is it knowing? It knows. She knows. Okay. Cool. All right, that was number 11. Write a program that evaluates this expression. The operand is in the expressions are floating point numbers. The operands plus, minus, star, and divide. The expression is evaluated from left to right. No operator takes precedence over any other operator. Oh, okay, it's just evaluated left to right, no matter what. Okay, so we'll do this last one, and then we'll probably call it here, and then come back tomorrow. Okay, because I'm getting kind of tired and hungry. Tired and hungry. Let me get caught up on chats here. Just discussing languages in chat. Hey, Mr. Shane. What's going on, dude? So if I say, let me ask here. We don't use scanf because we can't save in a char array, right? Exactly. That's one of the main reasons people avoid using scanf is because we have to use a char array, and we haven't learned about char arrays yet in the book. Yeah, because we haven't learned yet in the book. Cool. Yo, what's up, Carlos? What's the reason for you to learn C? I just kind of felt like I was kind of bottlenecked by what was going on in my actual code. I was writing code in Python and doing things, performing functions and whatever, but I didn't really like understand, like truly understand what was going on like behind those keywords. I wanted to actually like really understand like how the memory was being managed, like what kind of data types were being like loaded into the memory, like what sizes of those types. Like I really was curious to how Python was able to abstract so much of it away to just some simple objects, whatever, int, stir, dict. Like it's able to just kind of have these structures pre-built, and I wanted to know really where it was coming from. So we're going right to the source here. Boom, 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 boom. That was the same reason that got me into low-level languages. Do you use Python for your biochemist things? Yeah, I'll typically, if I need to like write up some quick scripts for biochem stuff, I'll write it in Python, or do my like when we do stock options stuff, I'll write stuff in Python to continue on with my engine. I've been writing stuff in like backend stuff in Python using Fast API for our web apps like SpectroSim, ChromaPlot, the ones that we're doing right now with Bitter Linen or Birdie Rose Clothes, and Pocket Farm. Those are our two projects right now that we're working on. But yeah, so definitely keep going and keep going in Python and whatnot. But okay, really quickly, let's try number 12. Write a program that evaluates an expression. Okay, so the operands in the expression are floating point numbers, and the operators are this, and it's left to right with no precedence. So it's just in order of how it came. So we'll include the standard io.h header file, int main void. We'll open this up. Okay. So we are going to go like this, printf, and call enter an expression. Okay. We are then going to do a get char, but we'll say while c equals to get char, and that does not equal to quote \n, right? We're going to open this up, and then let's go ahead and define a int or a char c, right? And then what we'll do is we're going to say let's do a switch on the C. We'll do the case of quote plus so then we're going to need to have a float total equals to 0. We're going to do let's just do this. If C not equal to quote plus sign, or C not equal to minus sign, or C not equal to multiplication sign, or C not equal to minus sign, right? We're going to open this up and do total. Wait, no. So if we come across a value, we need to know what operator to use, right, for the upcoming thing. Okay, so let's think about this. So you come across, you're going to scanf the first value. So let's just go into here and do get char. Okay, so we'll do okay, so you have this first value, okay? I take the first value, if it's not equal to any of these, well, actually we'll say if the char is equal to this, right, then we're going to do write a program that evaluates the expression. enter an expression. 1 plus 2.5 times 3. So we just need to, if we're going at this one character at a time, we would do a get char and pull in okay, so maybe we do this. Maybe we do an outer loop and say while the current character we're on is not a \n. Then we'll call get char inside of it and loop until we so if we loop until we so we need to have an overall loop to loop over until we hit the end. Then we need to have a loop that pulls chars down until we hit delimiting characters, right? So if we say while, let's just put not here, let's just put current, right, is not equal to \n. We'll say that char will go current here. It's also equal to a char. So while current is not a \n, we're going to say if char is equal to plus oh, this one's tough because you have to save reference to the sign, go get the next character, bring the sign back, while the current character we're on is not a delimit \n. If we're going to call a get char, well, a get char will only pull down one character at a time. It won't pull down the full integer, right? Maybe what we do is we repeatedly call scanf to either a float plus a float minus a float times a float, or a float divided by a float. What if we do that? So what if we call, let's just do this. Let's just do float left and right is here. Let's just say, let's get rid of this while loop. Let's do a scanf. Let's read in a %f plus %f, right? That's what we're scanning for. If we don't get this, so we're going to save this in oh wait, no. Let's do this. Let's loop and scan the value. We'll call if get chars plus. Okay, let's try this. Sorry. Okay, so we're saying while let's just say while 1. Let's call scanf. Let's read in for a float value and save this in our left. Okay. We're going to call scanf for a float value and save it into the left. we're going to call char c equals to get char, right? If c is equal to plus, right? And then we're going to I'm trying to think about how we can do it like universally though, right? Hey, Override Tips. Glad to see you're learning C now. I remember tuning in a while back when you were going crazy with Python. Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks so much for coming in. Welcome. Unfortunately, we haven't learned about isDigit yet. We have to kind of use the total, the values we're looking for here, or the only things we've learned in the book. Can also do if the char is greater than or equal to quote 0 and no, or c is the char is greater than or equal to quote 9. Can they be float values that are between 0 and 9, or do they have to be? It doesn't really say. In this example it does, but well, I think someone could put in like a 20.4. Okay, so what we would need to do is we need to extract out this value. We then need to understand what is the operation we're going to perform, and then extract out the next value. Now the thing that happens though, okay, so we call scanf to a float. We pull down a float, if possible. We then call getChar to get the sign, to get the operator. So that'll save into left. So then we call getChar. So if this is plus, right? If left So if left is greater than, so I think we can say this, right? If left, right, if there's a value in left, we want to do left plus the scanf total equals, or plus equals, no, total, yeah, plus equals okay, so we need to extract out the value before we even enter the loop, I think. And then that'll save into total. So total, we'll say float total equals to 0. Okay, we'll say while 1. We'll call a scanf. First off, we'll call a scanf and save this into total, right? So total becomes the first value. We then call getChar to get the symbol we want. If the char is plus, we're going to do total plus equals to we'll do int scanf for the another float value. We'll do it like that. And then we'll do total plus equals to, we need to save this into ampersand right I'll just say current. Current number. So we'll save that float value in current number. If it's plus, we're going to do total plus equals current number. Else if C is equal to quote minus, we're going to do total less equals to current number. Else if C is equal to asterisk, we're going to do total multiply equal current number. And if it's divide, we're going to do divide equal by the current number. So we read in the value for the first number. We save that into total. We then get the current number after we read in the operator. So then we're going to else if the char is not continue, or else, yeah, I don't know, we'll say continue maybe. Then we'll just say printf and put in value of expression and put in here %f total. Okay. Let's try this one. This one was a little bit harder. GCC-0 exe. We need semicolon here. In here. One plus one. Okay, so we'll say else break, meaning that we found a delimiting character. One plus one, no. So we scan in the card. If it's not any equal, if the char is not equal to these, the char else if \n break. So we're getting an infinite loop here, unfortunately. We caught up on some chats. Um, we haven't learned about char array. Code. Sorry, dude. Yeah, we can't use that yet. We're trying to stay true to the book and what it's taught so far. Because if we can learn how to code using these limitations, we'll be able to really understand what is the power of these tools and when we can use them. Let me see here. Sorry. Hey, brother, got to see your let me see now. Nice. Yeah, we read that one. They used to make unsafe block. Did you finish? Hey, Sports Degen. Did you finish the whole introduction to algorithms book for CLRS? No, not yet. I stopped reading that one not because I don't want to continue it. I do want to continue it really bad. It's just it got really dense, and I wanted to kind of understand more about, I guess like more about like the program like memory and stuff before like I got into like more of that harder stuff. I don't know, it's not super needed, right? But I just kind of wanted to get a little bit further into C maybe, and then take a stab into writing algorithms like maybe in C. Hey Tim, welcome in. Okay, so we're reading a char. We're scanning in the float for the current number we're on. If the character is plus, we're going to do total plus equals. If the character is negative, we're going to do negative. Else if it's a backslash n, we break. I wish there was a debugger so I could loop through this, but I'm not sure if there is in this, like there is in Python. Oh, my neck is kinked. Okay, so if the character we reach is backslash n, we're going to break out of this loop and print the total expression. Why don't we ever break out of this, though? Why don't we ever break out of this? So we can specify a delimiter. Oh, because this is calling scanf for the current number, which can not have white space after it. So if I put a space here, no, see now it's allowed to have white space. So that's not what we want to do. So we get the character for the sign. We then scan after the sign. We scan for the value that came after the sign. Let me do inside this loop. Let me print f to a %c and put in the character. And then let me also do a printf to the current number we're on with a %f and the current number. Let's try that. Okay, so let's see what happens here. 1.0 plus 1.0. So it's printing the plus and it's printing 1.0. So if I do, let's round this to just 0.2f. right? Okay. So the thing is why isn't if it's the character, well, the character red maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll say while C equals to get char, and that does not equal to a \n character. Let's go ahead and continue going. So once we read in, this saves initially as total. This saves as the character. This saves as the current number. Then it does the operation across that, loops back, saves this as character, saves this as current number, loops through, gets the current character, which is \n, with the get char. Yes! Okay, so then what the heck is going on? Okay, let's try that. Okay, we're gonna do 1 plus 1 times 2. So this would be 2, 4 divided by 2. This should be 2. Yes! Let's go! Woo! Okay, let's try it one more time. Let's do 5 times 5, 25, plus 1, 26, divided by 2, 13. Yes! Let's go! Let's maybe try floats now. 1.5 plus 1.5 divided by 0.5. Right, so 3 divided by 0.5, 1.5. No! Oh, divided by 0.56. Yeah, we're fine. That's right. Let's try 6.5, or no, that's true. 2.5 times 2 divided by 4. 5 divided by 4 should be the float. 1.25! Yes! Dubs. Dubs. All right, let's try 0.1 plus 0.2 for 0.3. Let's go! We got this one. Feels good. Why does it keep doing that? Did this update or something? Boom! Your program is booming because of the way scanf and char are interacting. Let's scan. You do this. Scanf. This reads the first number correctly. So if the user enters this, the total becomes 3. Then you do while this and scan in for the current number. Here's what happens. Get char reads one character at a time, including spaces. After reading 3, the next character is, quote, space, so C becomes, quote, space. Then you call oh, it thinks I'm broken here. I'm not broken here. It wants me to skip white spaces. That's if you have spaces, right? Okay. So you could put spaces in between these, but in this specific example, it's just all back to back to back to back. So I'll say it works for expressions with no space. Why did it do that? Ah, that makes sense. Right now your code works when inputs is something like this. So when C is a space, if you're doing this, right? So I guess we could say if C equal to quote space, right? Can we not continue? So if C is equal to a quote space, we'll just continue without scanning in the float to the right of it, because there is no float to the right of it. Oh, but we could go like this. We could allow for spaces on the float to be ignored in the scanf, and then maybe just remove that. I wonder. So if we do 1 plus 1 with spaces, no. This allows for trailing spaces at the end, no? That does that. But you can't give a trailing space at the end of. Let's try that. Let's see what it says for that one. I gave a prefix space to the float scan inside, and it allows for right. That's what works here. Now the space before this tells scanf to skip any white space characters before reading the float. So if your input is this, right, total reads 3, char reads the space after 3 is stored in C. But then allowing spaces after the float. Allow. So then if we skip any white space before reading the character in, oh, but they do a scanf for the character rather than that. Right, so if we do 1 plus 1 plus 2, oh, whoops. One plus 1 plus 2, that outputs. Now if we do 1 plus 1 plus 2, that doesn't output because you can't put any that doesn't output, right? Why doesn't that output? Because it's scanning. Current number. So let me just ask here. Trailing white. So on trailing. Cool. I don't know, for like general purposes of what it's wanting, it's kind of done, like just for this port, right? But if we're wanting spaces Okay, so what is spaces in the scanf? Why does this keep doing this? Behavior of scanf with spaces can be a little tricky. If you put a space in the scanf, it will tell scanf to skip any amount of white space until it finds a non-white space character. So if you put a space at the end of the %f, reads a floating point number skipping any leading white space automatically. The trailing space tells scanf to skip all white space characters until it finds a non-white space character. It'll block the input at the end of the number. Never put a space at the end of a scanf format string. It's kind of the rule of thumb. Okay. So then, if we run this and do 1 plus 1 plus 2 with no space at the end, it'll run because it'll accept any white space leading the f character here. Now, because we're using getChar, it's just pulling out that first character, whether it be a space or not. So we could use scanf for allowing spaces for a specific char as well. Interesting. Okay, let's take this one. Get some feedback here. So for simple expressions like 1 plus 1 or 1 plus 1 plus 2, it works. The reason your code works for this is due to how scanf and getChar interact with spaces. It reads the first number in our initial scanf, stops reading when it hits the first non-numeric character, the plus or minus or whatever sign, leaves that operator for the getChar to pick up, and then while getChar reads the next character after the number, this will get the operator. If the user types spaces after the operator, like 1 plus space 2, getChar will read the space as the character. So currently it doesn't skip paces for the character. Interesting. So if you were to go 1 plus 1 like this, that still outputs for a space before the... Okay, so let's see what's happening here. So if you put 1 space plus space 1, the total is being scanned in as the 1. And I guess we'll put in this here. So then it'll hit the operator and stop. While getChar is here, we'll read the character into the current number. I guess we can do this too. One space plus 1. 2. 1 space plus space 1, 2. 1 plus space 1, 2. Space 1 plus space 1, 2. Okay? So this calls getChar and saves it into C. This gets rid of all this spacing. So then, but if I go like this, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, this should be 4 outputs. Okay, so I'm trying to think though, will this C for the get char be pick up a space anywhere? It reads in the %f ignoring all white space to begin. It'll hit the operator here, picked up by get char, and then white space is skipped again. Will C ever pick up a space? In your current code, C can absolutely pick up a space. Get char reads the next character from the standard in. Reads 1, leaves the space as the next character. I don't think that's right because this space here will means that it's ignored until we hit a non-white space character. Do this while this is not an entity or a two-line character. If it's a this, then it's a break. We'll call scanf leading. If it's this, you do total that. So do get a char while the character is equal to a space, or the character is equal to a new line, a new tab, or \t. If the character is a new line, then we break, meaning we got to the end. So we'll scan F, skipping white space in the front into the current number. Okay. That's definitely a little easier, right? If there's total, else if that. Then we can say is do, right, we can say do C equals to get char while C is equal to a single space, or C is equal to, not sure why it has a tab character here, but I don't know. And then you scan F for whatever for the current number, and then do your evaluation. Okay. Let's go over this one more time. Oh no, so this has an outer while loop. Okay, yeah, so we'll have to do it while 1 here. Taking that there. Okay, then we scan F. If it's equal to a new line character, we break end of input here. Right? So if C is equal to a new line character, we're going to break. else we scan the value in. Okay. Expression 2. 1 plus 1 plus 10. Okay. Okay, let me just go over this one more time. So we're going to print enter an expression. We're going to set a current number float and total equal to 0. Char is equal to C. We scan F for the current value. I don't think we need to necessarily do this. Yes, we do actually, because we need to get the first one. And do like that, that's fine. Okay, and then what happens is we enter the loop. We continually get a character while the character is a space. Once it's not a space, means we hit a operator. If the character happens to be \n, we're at the end of the string, so we're done. But if we're not, we're going to scan in for the float value and then do the operation on the total for the current number. I think that is okay. Okay, how is this? The leading white space is fine. Trailing white space is a problem. If scanf tells to skip all white space and wait for a non-white space character, this will cause a problem to hang if the user only types the first number and presses enter. Okay, so if they only type in one number, it's just enter. So like if you do 1, you get 1 back. Okay. But if you were to do 1 plus, obviously, and then 1, then yeah, okay, then it continue waits for it. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I gave the trailing white space because the first value will hit the operator on the right. But yeah, if it's just one value entered, we don't want to wait for non-white space after. Right? So after reading the first number, it would stop right before the operator, letting getchar pick up that operator. That makes context for if you have multiple numbers. But for just a single number with no actual expression taking place, right, the trailing white space would cause it to get hung up, and we would stop there. Cool. All right, that's going to be it for me for today. We'll finish up the last 3 problems tomorrow. They're a little bit longer. So we'll take a stab at those tomorrow and then jump into chapter 8 after that, probably. Let me get caught up on some chats here. ChatGPT wants a premium, so it's going to bug me and stay strong. Yeah, we're staying strong, John. I wouldn't worry too much about defensive programming. You're still learning that language. Yeah. I was just trying to get a better understanding of what is going on with the white space characters in the scanf and stuff. But that definitely helped getting some more visual practice with it. So I wasn't exactly sure what. I knew it skipped it, but then the trailing, it skips it until it reaches a non-white space character. So the trailing, it needs something to like end the scanf for, right? So like, yeah. All right, you guys, thanks so much for being here and joining me. This was a fun one. I learned a lot. I got a lot of good progress and practice with C programming types here. We did the programming practice problem. Wait, which one is this one? We did the programming practice projects at the end of chapter 7 here. So this is chapter 7 of C Programming, a Modern Approach, second edition by K.N. King. We completed programming practice projects 3 through 12. And so we're going to take a stab at 13, 14, and 15 tomorrow. And then we will jump in and start reading chapter 8, Arrays. Finally! Oh, finally! We have unlocked arrays. Arrays are becoming ungrayed out. We're finally unlocking the GTA character arrays, so we can finally store our data rather than having and then index into it and reference it and whatnot, rather than having to just use live scans and whatnot and live user input. We can actually store it and come back to it. Thankfully, finally. All right, you guys, I'm super excited to get into chapter 8 next time. So thanks so much for being here. This is going to be huge as we level up. Arrays is going to really take us to the next level, being able to interact with C. Obviously, using types with those arrays and combination and everything. But join us again tomorrow for number 13, 14, and 15 for these programming practice problems. But my name is Michael. I'm 26 years old. I got a degree in human biology and a minor in chemistry. I graduated back at the end of 2021 and got a job right after college, when people were still hiring. I work as a formulation chemist for a biotech company, and I've been teaching myself how to code and computer science for about a year and a half now. We started off with Python and did a lot of great learning in there, building some cool projects, and now we're diving deeper into C and more robust computer science topics. So thank you so much for being here and joining me. Please join me again tomorrow. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy the stream and like to study with me on a daily basis. If you're wanting to, finding yourself struggling to commit yourself to learning, or you're wanting to just refresh the material, if you're learned about this in the past and you're wanting to just hang out with someone learning it, this is a great opportunity and place to join along with me and challenge yourself to learn, whether you're doing directly what I'm doing on the screen or just listening to it and doing your own studying on the side. Both are great opportunities to get involved in the community and set aside that time to actually get better. So thank you guys so much for being here. This was a super fun one. I'm definitely feeling a little bit better with types in C. Definitely need some more practice with maybe things like casting and some other types of examples that we learned about in this chapter, but going to continue on. So thanks so much for being here, and subscribe if you guys aren't. And thank you guys so much for being here. I usually stream around 7 p.m. PST after work, so after my 9-to-5 job. I am in California, United States, so Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.